Black Compass Media back live with another one. Shout out to the people that's out there right now is going to see this. This is Bar City. All right. It's a little bit of a deviation from what we normally do, but this is an extension from what we into. All right. I want y'all to understand that because, you know, it's a lot of unsung talent in the industry. It's industry guys that we want to tap in with, you know, and this is our imprint to do that. I am joined here with my man, Cola.
What's going on, bro? Brother? What's good? It's your boy Cole in the building, man. What's good? Bar City.
Hey, man.
Something fresh, new. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Tone, you get the fans and people to discover and come upon artists that they never heard. Some have heard. And, you know, to delve in more into what they got going on. Because, you know, this is dope.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Definitely. So this is dope, man. This is a dope session. Everybody that's in here, too, make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all hit us up. Everything that we talk about, we always try. We're going to be dropping links. We're going to be, you know what I mean, making sure that y'all get all that because it's important, right? This is evangelism. This is hip hop evangelism. This is what we do. All right. Cool. Now, with that being said, Cola, the guest that we have today is very dope. And I haven't like, and it's crazy to me because I was telling him backstage, like, I'm kind of mad I didn't know about him sooner. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to everybody out there too. We got joining us with the new project, which you're going to talk about. Manifest Destiny EP is out right now. All right, we're going to tell you how to get that, and we're going to tell you, you know, what time it is. But Connecticut stand up, man. New Haven, Bridgeport, all of that. Everybody boosting out of Danbury Mall. Shout out to y'all too. We got a brother here right now. That's dope, unsung, new dope project out. Without further ado, Cambatta. What's going on, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Bada. Thank you guys, man. Tony, Cola, man. This is an honor to be amongst your presence on your platform, getting introduced to these people that may know me and may not know me.
Yeah.
That's you know, it's a blessing that we could do this, man.
Hey, man, I was saying before, it's like I pride myself on being like, you know, I'm backpack bro. Like I'm with the lyrics, you know what I'm saying? I'm with the underground. Like I'm that guy. And for me, it's like, how did I miss what's going on right here? How did I miss this? So, you know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. And we're going to get into the project and everything like that. But, you know, I always like to start first with how everything is going for you. You know what I'm saying? We in different times right now. Artistry aside, different times right now. Being a creative is very difficult right now, I think. But how is everything going for you? You know, just in life, in your journeys, what you know, everything you got going on.
It's really interesting because really the times are quite fitting for a artist like myself. I had kind of a different path into hip hop, like. Most people, they have affiliations or they live in a central location like New York or LA or Atlanta or even some of the bigger places like Detroit or Texas to where they have more of a solidified foundation in hip hop. But I came up in Connecticut and, you know, the urban slate is kind of small there. It's mostly trees and suburbs. So it's a sub market. It's not really a primary place for hip hop artists to come up. So coming up, I really didn't have those connections and networks. I actually moved to Tampa when I was 18, and I developed my style kind of just satellite, separate from hip hop, kind of just watching it from the internet. You know what I mean? Wow. It wasn't until 2015 that I moved to the Bronx. I really just put myself in a position. It was like, you know, it was like going to college or going to jail in a sense, because I was living in a 6x6 room. I was living in an office for 4 years. Like I had my desk, my computer, and my cot or futon. And it wasn't because I was homeless. It was because I was putting myself in a position to get the best work out of me. Like shout out to Nix, my business partner. Shout out to Eddie. They had me out there, you know, just going through the motion. It was like hip hop boot camp.
Wow.
However, my character, my personality is I'm a very isolated, alienated, solitary person. So networking has to come natural to me. I don't force nothing. I'm here on this planet strictly for the creative flow state. So everything else is extra. So that's probably why you haven't heard of me either, is because I really started my hip hop journey in 2015, and I've been making moves, just some real specific moves, and there's really no rhyme or reason. It's almost like some kind of divine prophecy that I even got to connect with so many dope artists through this time. I mean, dope producers, Ski Beats, Black Magik. I did a joint with Apollo Brown, just Easy Mo B. I was in the studio, just a whole bunch of legends. And then I got to work with a whole bunch of rappers that I wouldn't have an opportunity to deal with, which led me to Loaded Lux, which is ridiculous. Because
that's crazy. But even so this growing up, right? Because I think you learned a lot about a person by where they might have traveled, the things that they seen, trials and tribulations. You got Connecticut, New Haven. Let's start there. The backdrop, Yale University. You probably could see it from the crib. But I've been to Connecticut and to New Haven, to Bridgeport. These are not sweet areas by any means. No. So what was it like growing up there, and how do you draw influences from that and from Tampa? You know what I mean?
Well, for me, it was the basic young black lost tragic trauma story. I was born in 1987, so I was really in the cusp of the crack epidemic, right? When you're seeing all the crackheads turn to zombies. I mean, at the beginning of crack cocaine, it was a party drug, and then a couple of years later, all them people just start turning into Frankensteins. And so that's kind of what I grew up seeing. I grew up in a central drug house, essentially, like respecting my mom and my grandma, because my mom was functional. I didn't have my pops, and I had a grandma who was real strong, and she made enough money to support us. But I mean, the house was just as much of a crack house as you could ever imagine. I mean, just all you hear every night is it was just pure chaos all the time. And I mean, New Haven specifically, even though it's in Connecticut, when you have a place that has so many suburbs, once you do have an urban spot, that becomes like a cesspool. And it had direct connection to New York. So right on the train line, you could jump on the train, come straight to New York. It's a 2-hour train ride. And right there is the project. So really, it was like a dumping ground. Like a lot of the New York hustlers will come to Connecticut and sell their product because they could upcharge it. And it weren't as many. So really, it was crack infested. Like you said, Bridgeport, New Haven. So that's where a lot of my pain and my where I draw my inspiration from is that first 18 years of my life. Was a lot of it was a lot of beauty in it too. Like, I was protected, thank God. So I had a lot of I wouldn't have changed anything because it gave me character. But it was crack infested, but it gave my story color. And thank God my parents, they were functional enough to where I didn't lack in any way. But I just, once I turned 15, because I was a gifted kid prior to that, you know what I mean? Like I could have did whatever I wanted scholastically. I was like a child genius, real shit. But once I turned 15 and I found hip hop and I fell in love with it, I thought of nothing else. It was like, I'm going to be a rapper or I'm going to die. So, I didn't graduate high school. I just threw everything away. It was like every other opportunity I had just didn't make a difference to me. I knew it in my soul that somehow, and then I moved to Tampa Bay because it was a way out. Like they had an audio engineering school and even though I didn't graduate from high school in a traditional way, I just I just paid like $400 and got a high school diploma from Maine. They had like a website you could just buy a high school diploma. So I used that to go to engineering school in Tampa. That's why I ended up there. And I mean, basically I lasted 6 months and it was just partying and rapping after that. But, that's kind of what led me here. But I will say, I kind of went further in the story.
Hey, Cambatta, your story kind of dope because, to be honest, I came up in the crib just like that.
Yeah.
to high school. I got kicked out of high school, and I actually had to go to and bought a test from a Christian academy and graduated like that. That's crazy to go to college.
The same shit.
That's crazy. Listen. I went to my diploma say Midwest Theological High School. It's like a Christian academy. I went to a place, filled it out, had to pay like $150, take the test, send it back. And then to be able to go to college, no bullshit, is crazy. Like how
let's just say North Atlantic, Maine high school or some shit like that. Yeah, same shit, bro. They used to run that. That was a scam or something. I don't know if they do that.
I don't know if they do that no more. But listen, this place. I'm from Chicago, so this place was in the city. I walked to it, went in there, registered. She like $150. I paid, but when I got the test, I had to mail it off. Yeah. And then they mailed me back the results. And then when they mailed me back the results, I applied for college like that. Real story, bro.
Different, man. And the things like that do help shape us in our music and stuff like that, you know. And you said you were hip hop became like I have to do this. Like this is not you know what I mean? So what were the influences in terms like stylistically and like who did you listen to where it's like, because everybody got that epiphany, right?
Yeah,
where you're like, I need to be a rapper right now. You know what I'm
saying? Funny, last night I watched the Biggie documentary. That's why I'm wearing the red and black document. Red and
Lumberjack
without the
hat to match.
Well, I had to leave that off because I had a haircut, so I got to show off the hairline. You know? Right.
I feel you. I'm 34 years old. I'm proud of my hair.
Right? So, you know, I similar to how he grew up. I grew up in a house of all soul music, and I loved it. So it was like I soul music, 70s music, Erykah Badu, Michael Jackson, D'Angelo. Just, you know, that's all I needed in my soul. But I had a buddy, shout out to Carlos, shout out to my boy Pat. I have friends that were more into the contemporary rap. And I also had my uncle who was a professional pop locker, you know, back in the day. So he introduced me to like Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One when I was younger. But that didn't really get me. I was able to emulate rap. So if I heard like the Rapper's Delight or Big Daddy Kane, I just had the specific. I used to do acting and shit when I was a kid, so I could just emulate anything perfectly, like just playing around. You know, the whole rapping voice, the whole timing. It was just, you know, playing around. I just had the ability to snap into it. But it wasn't until I heard my first album was Ready to Die by Biggie when I was 13.
Yeah.
And that obviously is the most perfectly executed album I think I've ever heard in my life. And he was a prophet, man. There's no, you know, I'm just like, there's no reason that dude was that everything he did was perfect. He made no mistakes. And he died when he was 24, 25. So Biggie. Then what really made me pick up the pen though, because Biggie made me appreciate hip hop. But he almost made it so perfect that it was just like, okay, I'm listening to something that's so great. I don't know if I can do this.
Right.
It wasn't until I heard Big L. Because Big L, he was a little bit more rough around the edges. His flow was very mathematic and mechanical with his syllabic rhyming, but he had the punchlines.
Right.
And what that did to my mind, that clever wittiness, you know, hearing you know, fuck Beavis, I get nothing but head. When I heard that, it was like, wait a second. Like, I like what that does to my head. I want to attempt that.
Right.
So it was Big L. Obviously the DMX, Eminem, you know, Eminem, I think is just so wicked. It took me a while to get into Jay-Z. I couldn't get into Jay-Z until I was about.
Come on, Bada. How? What was the problem?
Because my introduction was syllabics and punching, and Jay-Z's style was so much more fluid, and he didn't rest on any specific technique. It was just he was saying what he was wanting, and it was so above my head that hip hop, that street slang that he was using, because he was using a sophisticated street slang. It wasn't like a DMX, like who's giving it to you direct. There's no wondering what he's talking about. it wasn't until I got a little older that I appreciated Jay-Z, and it changed my life. Once I heard Hovey Baby. I'm so far ahead.
Yo.
You know, you got to pass me twice, look behind you. You know, that right there changed my brain waves. Cameron, Killer Cam. I mean, his punching was so overrated. I mean, I thought he was a gladiator. Gave a worry, now he happy. Gladiator. The original for breaking down words, just giving you the same word over and over again, and then he added in the colors of his cars and car marmalade. He was hilarious. He was low key like a twisted nerd or something. If you listen to Confessions of Fire, and this nigga was talking about eating poodles with doo-doo, and I just love that, you know. So those were my original influences, I would say. But beyond that, the only thing I listen to on a consistent basis is soul music and 70s music.
It's crazy because that Hovey Baby second verse is one of the coldest verses. You talk about like, we gotta rewind this. You know what I mean? Like he did too much in that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy. So the soul music influence. And then, but there is, and we'll get to the project and stuff because I think it's important, but there's a level of astuteness that comes with it. Like even when, and like with the project, it's like, even when you get ignorant, it's still jewels in there. It's still gems in there. Like what makes you kind of follow that path? Because like you said, DMX, he's going to give it to you straight. Like he going, you know what I mean? He want to shoot you in the head. I'm going to shoot you in your head. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's it. But what made you kind of incorporate the messages with the rhymes? Like, why is that important to you?
So earlier when I was first started rapping, it was more of emulation. I didn't really have the ability to dig deep in my soul and tell my story and speak from my heart and speak from my soul. I would speak from my mind. My correlation in my routine with rap was just to come up with bars based on a rhyme scheme. Every word had to rhyme and it had to be punchy. So it was more of a Cassidy style, who was also one of my influences.
It was dope.
But I will say that it wasn't until I heard like Lupe Fiasco, who I think is the greatest lyricist. I think Eminem's the greatest rhymer. I think Lupe is the greatest lyricist I've ever heard. And overall, the greatest rapper is Jay, obviously. J.R. Biggie. Like you could throw classic DMX in there too, because nothing really amounts to that. But Lupe Fiasco, the way that he would mask his messages and gems in entendre, he really mastered entendre and being able to say this one particular thing, but without saying it at all. Also, Nas is one of my I forgot to say Nas. I mean, his ability to do conceptual. He was the concept god. Rewind. I gave you power.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the joint on Lost Taste where you're speaking from the womb, from the belly. But yeah, I would say those guys really got me into, because I didn't want to preach. I hate preachy rhymes. That are just giving you historical fact and reference points, and they're speaking about Black power directly, and it sounds like you're preaching to me. I hated school, and I really didn't like church. It was just boring. You know what I mean? Like, it was just boring. I like the sermons at the end of church when the preacher's going crazy. And I love the choir. I love catching the Holy Ghost, but I don't like things that sound too literary and too directly referenced. So to me, it's about, also, I'm not a saint. I speak from the point of view of the sinner. So that kind of, and then I also have in my music, I don't have any boundaries. So I'm not really specific to any religion. I'm not specific to any frame of mind, anything. It's pure clarity, pure like water. But I also always speak from the point of view of the doer and the done to, and the sinner and the one in pain. When I speak from the God mind, that's when I'm in the process of divine revelation. That's when I feel like I'm a tool of the heavens, the higher powers. and I'm just delivering message based on the word. But it's not because I think I'm any better than anybody. It's just that when you're in that state of flow state, and any artist knows what I'm talking about, you get these downloads and these bars to where it's like, yo, why? How did this come to me? Is this my mind? I know I'm not that intelligent. It just comes. You lock into a phrase couplet. Like if I say phrase couplet, and I just focus on that word, on those words, brain puppet, it would keep downloading all through the day until I come up upon something profound. And I can't say that comes from me. It only comes from being in that God state. So there's a couple ways that I deliver my message, but it's not to preach and it's not to teach,
Wow.
So how did you initially come up with your name? Because as an artist, you be trying to come up, figure out what your rap name gonna initially be. So was Cambatta your first name, or was that, was that the first rap name you chose, or you had another name before then?
So my name is Cam, or Cameron, my full name. So once I started rapping, it was obvious they're gonna call me Killer. Yo, there go Cam, Killer Cam. That name is obviously taken. I used to listen to a lot of Dipset. So obviously Joel Santana had Santana's Town. I was about 15 around this time. And he had this, he said, old school like Bambaataa, no man's hotter. And I was rewriting it. I was rewriting the freestyle, but I was writing it. I remember he said, I have a whole collection. I got a gun collection. It's a fun collection. You need gun protection. And then when it came to the point where it said, I'm old school like Bambaataa, I was like, okay, bam, Cambatta. And once I said that I'm old school like Cambatta, I was like, oh shit, that's it. Because I grew up in a house where my uncle was a professional pop locker. He had this group called Electric Function. They used to that was their thing. And they used to pop lock to Africa Bambaataa, Zulu Nation, Planet Rock, looking for the perfect beat, so that it made sense because Africa Bambaataa was one of the creators of hip hop. It was Kool Herc, it was Africa Bambaataa, it was Grandmaster Flash. It was those were the significant pillars to it. So I said, I guess I'm the future. I'm gonna be the new wave. I'm what's gonna build the pillars of the future. So it made sense. It also is a popular name in South Africa. There's a Cambatta aviation station.
That's all.
Aviation center. Also, a bata is a form of Indian currency in the streets, and also a cam is a mechanic motor or something like that. So automatic money, if you will. Also, there's a shillelagh, like an old staff rod that the shepherds would have in Ireland, and it was called a Cambatta. So there's different etymological reasoning for it beyond just Africa Bambaataa, which tends to get a negative connotation because the allegations that go along with Africa Bambaataa. But I don't know if any of that stuff is true. I respect the man for what he was able to do. I don't know what's going on with that other stuff, but it has nothing to do with me.
Right. Yo, that's a dope breakdown.
That's dope. It's dope. It's dope, Tone, that he looked into other meanings for it to be able to tell us more about it. You know what I'm saying? From the Indian money to the staff thing, like that's fire. I like that.
That's very dope, man. But you said that after returning back, right? Like you went back up north, after Tampa, you get to the Bronx, right? And you get dialed into that scene. And shout out to Mickey Fax, he was up here.
Shout out to Mickey Fax, man. That dude shows so much love, and he's also one of the greatest rappers of all time. Like. Mickey, man, I remember Mickey from the beginning. Literally, he was on his joint with Drake and Travis McCoy from the Gym Class Hero.
Yeah,
I mean, that dude's been a scary lyricist since the first time I heard him, man. Pure genius.
Yeah. In college, we had the freestyles on him and Corey Guns at the Deal. When he said, other day, I was busy sticking the rose. If she didn't sit, we still get pushed over. Not beat. I would have been with Ricky and Bob, but Huey and Bobby, a shotgun protecting my body. Can't let my eyes sleep. I memorized the whole shit. I told Mickey this. I had the whole shit. Like, that was the dorm room era. But when you get connected, and RIP to Fred the Godson too. But when you get to connected with that Bronx scene, you know what I mean? You that hip hop scene, that underground scene, like it sonically what did that inspire in you? Like, was that a sense of passion? Was that like, you know what I mean? I got to step my work up because, you know, the Bronx got the lineage, man. They got the hitters over there.
Yeah. So, you know, I grew up, you know, my level of energy is not like New York. You know, I grew up, you know, when you're intellectual, you can use your mind to get you out of things. And I developed, you know, I would say my medium speed would be considered lazy for a New Yorker. And then I moved to Tampa Bay in the beach town, which doesn't help. You know, because then I got into psychedelics. I got into, you know, just being outside mostly. I would only write on the porch. And it's perfect weather out there, and I was able to take my time and really dissect the world. So coming to New York, that don't work. It's a whole different round. Like the speed of everyday transactions is at another level. The hustlers are at another level. You got to speak the language. You got to move. Like the transportation system is different. Driving is different. The weather's different. So just like, if we want to take it down to a more elementary principle point, if we have two animals, or even a tree or a plant, in Florida, you're going to see different plants grow because of the weather circumstances. They have more sun, the air is different, there's more water. In New York, the plants have to grow tougher. They know they're going to die for half the year. There's not as much rich soil. There's not as much, you know, sun. There's not as much clean water. Like there's a whole different realm. So the human, we're not immune to nature. You know, a lot of times we blame ourselves for shit. And, you know, I'm in a depressed state. You know, it's winter. I feel down. Well, yeah, like look at the trees. The motherfuckers is dying. We're not immune to this shit. So yeah, I had to completely change. But it's something that happens almost intuitionally. It happens innately. At first it was hard to adjust to it, but I really, you know, once I caught on to it, it was because I was born in Connecticut, which is so close weather-wise, but still there's nowhere in the world like New York as far as the slate. But what it did was it gave me a different level of energy. When you're writing, it depends on the air. Everything makes a difference. The air you breathe, the energy around you. So I'm like, most of my great works, I would say conceptual works, from Tupac Murder Confessions to Grand Number Theorem to Michael Jackson, to all my greatest works, I could say I've done while I was living in New York. Wow. I might have seeded them. I might have planted the seeds when I was in Florida, but I kind of watered them and cultivated them to life once I got to New York. It was like, yo, I gotta go, because now I'm rubbing shoulders with all the greats. I'm in VIP with this person. I'm talking to this person. When I first met Mickey, it was in the city. You know, I remember, you know, meeting Lupe, meeting all the legends that I ever dreamed of. I was able to meet immediately, get on the same stages as them, and that it does something to you. It changes you, and that kind of gave me the motivation. But it gave me a realistic sense of motivation. I knew I couldn't compete with these guys. They have they got money. I had no money. They have connects, networks. We had to create connects and networks. So I knew that my only way in is to do grand ideas, to be so nice that it's undeniable. So for me, like, I spent a lot of my time in my little jail cell developing, you know, culture changing concepts that will continue to develop, you know.
That's what's up, man. And shout out to my man Daylyt, man. I'm gonna put up his super chat. He says, Suit to Cambatta, been rocking with him since the Visionary in 08. I'm sick. I'm sick like flu like past tense fly that side. Like, yeah.
Shout out to Daylyt. Wow, that's so good. I was like 19.
Bro.
Those were bars from when I was, 19, 20 years old, man.
You said Cambatta is 4D. My shadow is 3D. You see my shadow, you don't see me. Like, I said, I said, what?
Yeah.
No.
That comes from metaphysics, man. That's like you know, my primary curiosity on this planet is, bro, like, look at these tentacles. Look at Earth. Why am I able to dream and create alternative universes? Even further than that, when I dream and I go to sleep at night, if I'm viewing somebody rap on a stage, that's my internal mind freestyling as somebody else in somebody else's voice. My mind is able to replicate complete environments with the voices and the depth of that. Like, and not only that, like, okay, we can justify the sun and the air here, but what's to justify the light and the photons that happen in your dreams? So I'm like, this is my obsession. This is what makes it hard for me to sleep at night. So you're gonna hear rhymes like that cascading through my rhymes because that's my intention. It's not to tell no street tales. It's not to do none. Essentially, like on a selfish level, I want to get to the crux of like, yo, okay, this life and death shit. It's cool. We playing around. We all fiddling and faddling. But okay, what happens when I sleep? What's gonna happen when I die? What's going on here on this fucking planet, bro? Like, what's air? We name everything. We don't really know, you know. So it's like, bro, like, fuck. And rap is the perfect tool to get to those questions because of what happens when you rhyme rare sequences of words. So we're bridging gaps. Like if I have to rhyme mechanic sweater, I would have to come up with rhymes that come with that might be word pairings that are so rare you wouldn't come across them in regular dialogue. So now it's forcing my brain to say, how could I? Okay, if I do that, bam. Now if you nail it, you're giving a visual, a rare wrinkle in the mind of all the listeners that they never had no more. You're literally changing the potential of the imagination, you know?
Wow.
Man. Which is Tone and Cambatta a dope perspective because the human person think everybody's brain's supposed to work and think the same. So anything beyond the same is crazy to someone not knowing that this is regular because so many people are of difference. You know what I'm saying? And minds are of difference, which is something special. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at things like that. The same thing you said, I want to know what happens when it's over with, when you land there and you can't feel nothing. Or do you get a 30 seconds of something going? I think those same things, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Even though you believers in whatever you believe in, I'm pretty sure every human being in their right mind, especially up in their 30s at that point, or even early 20s when you had life-changing experience, then thought about things like this. I'm pretty sure. That's dynamic.
Man. So I think, you know, that it gives us a great insight into, you know, what goes into the project, you know what I mean? And that really sets the stage for getting into these bags. I watched a bunch of freestyles, you know what I'm saying? I watched the work and it's like, yo, this dude is like nice, right? In our battle rap, because we mostly carry battle rap, right? As a battle rap form, Loaded Lux is the highest you can get. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the guy when it comes to this thing, right? Like he said a lot of he one of the architects of the building. He'll tell you himself, right? So it's like, you know, how do you get connected with Lux, especially at this point in his career and things like that, like the work that kind of went into that. And you know, was it him reaching out to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, were you guys already had the connection, or how did that work?
Oh, man, it's a deep sequence of events that all stems from my curiosity in metaphysics. You know, I grew up like everyone else just watching, you know, I got all the Smack DVDs. So I remember really Lux 19 years old in the closed shop battling Mook. I was 16. So I'm in high school watching this on our fucking big booty compact computers, like Windows Media Explorer, like buffering and shit.
Right.
It impacted me. Like I was just like, yo, these guys are rapping on the maturity level. Like, why do their minds work like this? Like, you know, it's kind of like, damn, like I have to be exposed to this somehow. Like it's impossible to replicate that in New Haven. Like it wasn't hard for me to be one of the best rappers in the state immediately as soon as I picked up a pen because there wasn't that many. So like if you're living in New York, like you have this advantage that every corner has the greatest rapper around the corner. So that, I mean, but I will say how it got from there to there is once I got into psychedelics when I was in my mid-20s, I really started researching metaphysics, and it led me to Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine. At the same time, I was doing music in Tampa. At that same time I was in Tampa, there's a rapper named Joyner Lucas that was in Tampa. He was working with a producer named Kepera. Kepera also was working with a rapper you might know named Stove God Cooks. Okay.
Oh my God.
So all of this is related because I'm in Tampa while this is happening. And that dude, Kepera, is who first introduced me into the Kabbalah system, because he was an understudy of A.A. Rashid, who is the guy talking on those West Side Gun albums.
Right.
So all of this is connected. It goes deep. So A.A. Rashid is who connected me to, so Kepera connected me to A.A. Rashid, who posted one of my freestyles on Facebook to a gentleman named Red Pill. Once I moved to New York, there was literally I moved to New York in November 2015, and there was a debate going on, a Black consciousness debate. Because like I said, I was in the Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine, so it led me to Black Magik channel, who's the producer on this album. He was the guy who owned the YouTube channel that would put up all the conscious tapes, him and Sonetta. It led me to this debate with Brother Polite and this Hebrew Jew. And at that time, Brother Polite was connected with Loaded Lux. Literally, I went to this debate and Loaded Lux came out and he was rapping. I actually met Loaded Lux on that day. He didn't know who I was. I remember meeting him, taking a picture with him, like, yo, we're gonna cross paths somehow, some way. And, fast forward, I connect with Black Magik, who was the channel. Like I literally met him through Red and Blue Pill. They introduced me to Black Magik, Brother Rich, who owned the Black Conscious channel. And I found out he was a producer. So we did a track named Black Magik, which was the intro track to his channel. And because he had like 200,000 subscribers, that kind of made me lit. So it got me like a whole new fan base. And at this time, Loaded Lux this is when he was developing into the high level lyricist with the conscious thread throughout. Right. That's when you heard him, because he was involved. Like he's learned from a lot of the same masters that I learned from. So we ended up, me and Black Magik ended up doing the album, and he was like, yo, I'll see if I could get Loaded Lux on it. Originally, I think we wanted like we shouted out to like a couple of rappers, King Load, my son, but the only person that really got back to us was Loaded Lux. He was already involved in the circle. He already knew Rich. Him and Rich worked in the past. So we did a joint called the GOAT Remix. You can find that video online, YouTube, Cambatta, GOAT, Loaded Lux. And then, time went by, that came out, time went by. And this is when he was preparing for the battle when they were doing the Loaded Hollows. Right. Yeah. Yeah. He was doing an interview with Brother Rich. Was asking him just about the dynamics of rap and music. And I remember meeting him out there. And at the time, I had a song out called Shaka Zulu. And Loaded Lux was like, oh, that Shaka Zulu is crazy. And Hollow was there. I got to meet him. And from that point, he was like, oh, like, I could tell, like, we might be able to do something else. And then, I would say May of last year, June, somewhere in May, June, somewhere in July, Brother Black Magik, the producer, kind of confronted me and Lux and asked us if we wanted to do a project. And Lux said, yeah. He was like, let's go. So we knew that it was something that we had to take advantage of. So we immediately got, as soon as a couple months went by to where, he had to deal with, eventually though, we booked the session. And, this is for all the rappers out there. Like, when you come up with these ideas, you have to execute immediately. If you don't, it's gonna, especially when you're dealing with GOAT level artists like Lux, everybody's trying to do something with him at all times. So it was really necessary that we just booked the sessions and got it done.
Carpe diem.
From the beginning, he was into it, and I think the primary reason why. So why work with?
Why? Because Lux is a Lux. You talk to Lux about anything, he gonna tell you need to go around the corner before you get across the street. Is what I'm trying to say. But you know what I mean. So how did it was like you obviously we gonna seize the day, but to get in that creative space, because y'all have this chemistry that we'll talk about with the album. Like how did that happen? Where it was like, boom, I got it. I'm ready. Like, what was that conversation where it was like, it's time, bro, let's go. You know what I mean?
You know what it really was? I think you got to imagine being Loaded Lux. Like, and it's hard to imagine, but mostly everyone around him is going to be talking about battle rapping. It's a very aggressive community. It's a certain mind state, and even to be effective in battle rapping, it's a blood sport. You know what I mean? Like, he can't be fully metaphysical in that realm, because that requires a certain level of righteousness. Like, you can't really straddle the fence in hip hop. It's more of a 60-40 split tops. You know. So I think it's just a natural, energetic connection to metaphysics that he has. That's what makes the difference in his lyricism, and the reason why he's able to play with entendre and words like that is because there's a mechanism in his brain that has this relationship with parallels, duality. He's able to, his mind is really good at pattern recognition, and that stems from a deep predisposed connection to metaphysics. And me and him speak that language. It's like when we're in the booth, when we're building, it has nothing to do with battle rap, it has nothing to do with the streets, nothing to do with gossip. We're trying to get to the crux of, like, okay, words, like how do words develop out of nature? Where did language, the differences and why we're able to do this, the connection in the etymology and how perfectly named things are. So it really comes from just getting back in that childlike state. Like, we're able to have fun. And that's really what it comes down. There's no pressure. So I think that's really what brought it out, is that it's not battle rap. It's not street rap. It's not Harlem shit. It's not, we're talking about that. We're talking about Black Magik. We're talking about, metaphysics, so that I think
it still feels like I can hear the influences in it, although it does feel like something different. The production, right? And we're gonna get into let's get into the music, right? Because first of all, Manifest Destiny's out, the project is out, it's on the site and everything for $20. We'll talk about that as well. But let's get into this project sonically. This production is absolutely ridiculous. Cola, right? Like, we were just talking about Alpha Mega, like that track right there with the Tyson intro.
Yeah.
Then the Black Star, the 1, 2, 3 with the flip on that too. God, like the production alone, it just that it feels important. You know what I mean? It feels like so. How did y'all working with Black to put together the work? Like, did he give you the beats first, or did you already have the rhymes down? It was like, all right, I'm gonna get this one. Like, how did that work?
Yeah, man, I'm glad you asked that too. Shout out to Brother Rich, Black Magik. He's the producer. He's the mastermind behind these projects. Me and him did, prior to this project, we did Holy Ghost 1, Holy Ghost 2, and he's a mastermind, and he's an empath, and his name is Richard Merritt. Like, he literally, if he comes up with an idea, he's going to manifest it. So that's really the crux to how this happened. He's that middle point of energy that's able, people trust him. When you meet him, he gets things done. He's solid. His music is incredible because he didn't do the music without us. Like, each beat he only made, I think there's 8 tracks, but he only made 9 tracks. There's 1 track that didn't make it on the album, but he makes it generally while we're in the studio, or I'm in the studio with him freestyling. So the beats come directly from the emotion of that moment. So it's not like he's sending us a bunch of beats. So these are crafted and developed directly for the spirit of the album.
Tailored for y'all. See, and Cola, we talked about that with artists. Like, you gotta have a sound, right? Cola rap.
Have a sound.
You know what I mean?
That's what make music music. Because once you got your own sound in pocket, why change that when that's what we look at you for? We want that sound. We don't come to you to be nobody else. Like he said, we don't come to you to be Nas. We don't come to you to be Jay. We come to you to be Cambatta or Lux. You know what I'm saying? So that's always fire. But I wanted to ask you something, Cambatta. You said you was a fan of Lux. Now, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you rapping, so you feel as any MC feel like I can rap with anybody. But just knowing Lux beforehand, knowing like, okay, now it's time to lock in. Over in this battle rap world, we look at Lux like
the aura.
That pen is at a different level. What are you thinking going into the studio at that time? Like, okay, it's locked now. How my pen gotta be?
You know what's crazy is that it's a lot like I'm a big fan of MMA and boxing. And it's kind of like preparing for a fight to where it can happen at any time. You always got to be on point. You could be going through a divorce. You could be going, whatever happens, you got to focus in at that moment. And at this time, like my solo album LSD just dropped in July 21st on my 33rd birthday. And that album was a task. Like it took me 4 years to get that out. Wow. And so this happened directly after that. And I was also, when I moved out of the Bronx, was right around that time. I moved out of the Bronx back to Connecticut because the rent is just crazy. So it was a little.
Tell me about it.
To live in Connecticut. Yeah. So this happened in the midst of a whole lot of transition. I was actually having artistic exhaust to where it's almost like postpartum depression after a woman has a baby or something and she goes through this depressive state. After you deliver a project, there's like in order to then go through the promo phase, sometimes it's difficult because in the back of your head, God damn, like, okay, now they have it. Now I have to do this again somehow. So really it came at a time where I had to access this energy from within. I didn't have a whole lot of extra bars. I didn't have I'm not always, when I write things personal, it's personal stuff. So I didn't have any extra bars for Lux. So it came out of nowhere, but the feeling was just crazy. I mean, and I worked with him before. So I worked with him on the GOAT joint, but that was a little different because it was a song I already developed and he was writing on it. So I already got to hear the contrast to a certain degree. But I just I didn't know there was some points that were a little intimidating. Just to bring it into reality, the joint manifesto with us, the 6-minute joint. So that was basically that one and Alpha and Omega were the last two joints that we did. We knocked out the bulk of the album first because, as you can see, those were kind of different joints. So on that level, it's not the same realm if we're trying to develop a song, because at that point it has to be cohesive. We have to make compromises to develop a good song. I can't just rap for 30 minutes and give you bars if we're rapping about beautiful.
Right.
So the pressure is more so how do we accent each other? Where's the compatibility here? And like I said, a lot of this was done freestyle. So really, we're buying studio time. We have 8-hour session. We throw on the beats. For the first 3 hours, we're talking, smoking, jumping around, going crazy. It's like, okay, we got to get the song done. And, he has a particular method on how he creates, and I have a particular method of how I create. But it's like a lot of times you're in this situation. A lot of it is jump in the booth, say what you got to say, jump out the booth, So a lot of these songs are made on the cusp. So it kind of, but with Manifesto, it was like when it came to writing that, I didn't really know where to go with it at first because my principle, my foundational style is metaphysics. Like I like bars, I like hyperbole, I like mind-bending things. But listening to his flex freestyle, listening to what this guy does, his normal speed is just crazy. Right. So I didn't know where to go on these joints, especially the Manifesto. So I had to hear his verse first. I'm writing. I'm like, I remember putting something down, and I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work for this because I gotta really hear where his blade is gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So that one really, I had to wait to hear him first. And then once he started kicking it, I knew that I could do kind of a mixture of both divine biblical level writing and also giving people just the shock value to say, you know, hey, here, I'm this unapologetic barsmith that doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
You know, but I can also you know, talk that talk with somebody like this.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then with the Alpha and Omega, if you listen to that, like that was all freestyle. So that was
what? Nah, don't yo, Cambatta, we got you up here. Don't start lying up here, bro.
No, you can hear it. So the first,
there's no
freestyle, like yo, but it was he went in, he said the first bar. I went and I said the first bar, the next bar. He went and said the next bar. And it was like, all right, let's go. Is
y'all catching alleys all over the track and just
you
know what I mean?
And the second verse was crafted differently. So, you know, but it was, you know, it was overall, it was fun. You know, it just leaves me wanting more. And, you know, it's like, it's not enough. Like, I still want to go in with it. Like, you know, but I know it's legendary and I'm just honored that, like, I had the opportunity to really get it in. But I know, like, it's a mutually beneficial because it really forces you to have to. I don't know how fast he's created his other projects, but to create a full project in like a month and a half is definitely a task. You know, it's not easy to do that.
Yeah, and to produce this type of work. And I'm listen. There's different levels of music, right? Now Cola get in his car and all that, and he puts his system up, you know, and lets the 21 Savage and all of that play to the Young Dolph. I do the same thing. But most of the time when I'm at the computer, when I'm at work, or just if I'm on the go running errands, like, and I'm locked in and I'm trying to focus my mind, or I'm in the gym, I hear a song like Slave to a Master. That's what I'm thinking. Like I'm from a slave to a master. I'm the runaway slave they ain't capture. Like, that's what I'm thinking before I get in them board meetings. You know what I mean? That messaging I feel like is important. Like, so how important was it, like, in the backdrop of what's going on today with police brutality and all the different systems that I think people are starting to awaken themselves to? Like, did it feel like, nah, this is right for the time, or was that not even a consideration in your head?
Yeah, that's essentially what it was. So we wanted to accent what was going on without it being just some time sensitive,
right?
You know, kind of modern. Like, so we didn't want to write about anything that had an expiration date on it. So if you go too specific, it won't work in the future. So it was about capturing the mentality and the feeling of it without really encapsulating the directiveness of what was happening at that, without directly. So we sprinkled in lines, you know, quarantine, you know, what still travels your name. I had a joint mask on, like I had a couple mask on lines where I'm talking about, where I'm basically referencing the COVID virus. And he had a couple lines in there about the election. But it is about that mentality, because what Slave to a Master represents is we're in a time now where obviously the economy is collapsing, human beings are insane, the world is basically changed forever, and we're seeing a lot of entrepreneurs just kind of, you know, sift to the surface. And everybody's got their own now. You got your own channel. You have to be able, and from an artistic point of view, everybody's going independent now. You know what I mean? It's like even the model of the labels is to make you appear independent. So the labels now have sub-labels that are independent labels, so you can have that view of, okay, the artist is handling this. This is grassroots shit. So everything is based on about having your masters. You're hearing about people either selling their masters or getting rid of their masters. But it is an awakening. It's a mentality. So to go from the slave to a master literally it can happen right now with just a thought process. Right.
I like that. It's always multiple meanings, Cole. There's always that's ill. I'm like, I wasn't even on that wavelength, but I see how it could apply.
Hey, but Tone, me being a Lux fan, now getting to know Cambatta, just knowing the mind of what Loaded Lux and how he lives and what he write and how artistic he get. Like what he said on Alpha Omega, they freestyling, so you can only imagine that's real art. Like that's an artist. Right. They really being artists, and that's more than just a rapper. You in there because you gotta really. That's like almost a mental fight because, like you say, you got somebody of a Lux status and Bada, and I'm pretty sure Lux looking at him at the same way. Like if I play
the same way, like
he gonna. You know what I'm saying? Get crazy. So from an aspect of that, like I say, the dynamics is crazy, man.
It is, man, and you know, I have all humility coming into it because I'm rapping with a man that's his sword is so sharp. I mean, in comparison, I can't. He's been rapping with the greatest rappers of all time since he was a kid. Like literally, this guy has songs with Method Man. You know, Method Man, Redman. He's battled the greatest battle rappers. He's ciphered with the best rapper. I don't have that experience. So it's like if we're fighters, this man's already been in the ring with Mayweather. He's been in the ring with Tyson, Roy Jones. He has a certain level of experience in dealing with these kind of, crunch time circumstances. Like his hours, his labor hours are, tripling, quadrupling mine. So I had to really rise to the occasion to get on a level of somebody like that when it came to the aggressiveness. My comfort zone is songwriting and just being imaginative. And I'm more of a solo isolated. I don't share my mic that much. Like you look at my albums, they don't have a lot of collabs. So and I do feature. I do a lot of features, but it's a different mindset. So I'm more of a conceptual writer, Right. So when you're doing these songs like this and you can't really anticipate what the next man is writing, because when Lux writes, he's got to be outside. So if we're having a session, you don't see Lux. He's in a whole nother world. So you got to almost anticipate, okay, how is this man going to come? How is he going to come on this? So if I wait for him, then that means I have to think faster, because now if he comes in and he does something crazy, it's like, okay, I have to now top that. Okay,
right.
I got to think really fast.
It's dope how he writes and he thinks and he's outside, probably looking at the imagery, looking at the people passing by, and you know what I mean. And it's like he has his thoughts there, but you do your work in isolation, right? Like this is how you honed your skill. Like I gotta hone in. I gotta get in my own like little frame of reference. I think that's dope, and that's probably why the project came out the way it did. Now on Ready Rock, you have the auto tune with the chorus and everything like that. And it was like, all right, because in my head, right, and I feel like a lot of our fans are kind of guilty of this. We have a perception of a battler, or not a battler, of a rapper and who they kind of are when we hear the first little song. So it's like, oh man, he hitting auto tune. What are we doing? Like, cause at first I was like, what are we doing? But it's dope though, the way you blended that. You feel what I'm saying? So how did you you want to incorporate these different sounds? Because that's more of a now thing. You know what I'm saying? And like what was it like even incorporating that into the mix? You know what I'm saying?
It's it is that it is. I guess there's the way that we use it in that is kind of contemporary parody. It's like, even when I did it, the voice that I used was like a sub tone. It's like,
right.
Like that's like what these kids are essentially doing.
Right.
Like you have to, if you want it, it's a flow, it's a swag. So like,
right.
Really, what would I be doing if I was 14, 15 years old? Like, a lot of us are very callous. We get older and we develop kind of a mindset artistically, like, oh, I won't touch that. But if the technology's there and you're having fun, why not? Like, I honestly don't give a damn. Like, I want to do everything. Like, so I think it worked for that moment on a song. I have songs where I'm doing auto-tune the whole time. Like the purpose of auto-tune is actually dope. It's just that it's been used in a manner that kind of taints it a little bit because it's correlated with dumbed down, yak rap. But really, like, you know, Michael Jackson had auto-tune on his voice, and there's also another one called Melodyne that's you're able to select the notes and actually put them in the right key. So I mean, Beyonce, every single artist used a version of this. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm not fucking, you know, Luther Vandross, so you know, I need them training wheels.
Right.
But I guess it is kind of polarizing. But that's what I want. Like, if you're so callous that once you hear me do that one thing, if that's enough to make you not listen no more, then, you know, I understand, you know, then it's probably cool because I'm gonna say something else that's gonna offend you too. Like that's
right. No, you offended me multiple times on the. No, I'm just saying, like, it's good to make fans. It's good to make people sort of question their own thoughts about things, right? And I'm sure as I listen to Project more, I'm gonna find other things that I really like. But this project right here for me is like, because there's been a sea change, right? It wasn't cool to be, you know, like into metaphysics and doing the knowledge and, you know what I mean? Understand. When I was coming up, that was still cool. You got your Wu-Tangs, you had your people that was, you know what I mean, in that they would get in that bag. And then we kind of dropped off from that. Now it's a resurgence, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, of lyricism. You know, and who are some of the other guys that you listen to, or you feel like, yo, this is one of the guys, like outside of the influences, but like contemporary now, like who are some people you feel like are extra talented?
Oh, there's a lot of them, man. Definitely shout out to Mickey Fax, Daylyt. Let me think. Obviously Kendrick. Absol's first couple projects were crazy. I'm not sure what he's been doing since then. You know, Royce. Oh, I mean, all of them. Oh, Sa-Rock. Definitely shout out to Sa-Rock. Sa-Rock is just unbelievable. She's on the project too. I mean, her style of pen is crazy. We're seeing like a new resurgence of Black Thought that he's really just proving his pen prowess right now is just untouchable. You know, has me rethinking my whole style. Man, there's a lot of them. I mean, really, like we're in a time now where most rappers are good. Like even if you listen to the trap and the drill rappers, like they're using syllabics, it's been embedded into the human language now. It's like rap. If you learn it early enough, it's no different than learning Spanish or something like that. You will learn how to think and rhyme. And I would say, you know, if we look back on our childhood, we had groups like, you know, D4L, Laffy Taffy. We had, you know, Shook the Shocker rapping all over the beat. I would say the average rapper in the 90s was way worse than the average rapper now.
Way
worse. Terrible rappers. You know, remember, I want to be a baller, baller 20.
That song crazy though. Don't do that.
That was one of those joints though.
Fire. Right. It was more of a feel.
It was a feel, you know what I mean? Like, but it was simple. It was what we would call now bubblegum rap. You know what I mean? Like, but it was fire. Like, but you know, so I like everybody really, but I don't listen to that much rap to be completely honest with you. Like, I'm stuck on like 70s music. Like, really, I think that's the apex of human fucking expression because it was the psychedelics that brought it out. But the average lyricist is incredible now. Like there's so many of them, I can't even name all of them. Like there's, you know, I'm amongst a lot of people like to, you know, make these lists of top rappers. It really comes down to the moment that you get the download. Any rapper at any particular moment can be the greatest of that day or that moment. It depends on how you prepare your mind and if you're available to download it and if you have the will and the energy to actually get it out. You can pay attention to certain things like there's a mixture of tone and rhythm and things like that you have to have involved too. But you'll see it, man. Everybody's polished these days, man. Like I got no complaints, man.
Dope, man. Dope project. Dope visual as well. Will we be getting more visuals? Because that video is cold and the artwork is cold too. Like did you put that together yourself? What was the treatments like? Who put together the treatments for that?
It was a collaborative effort. You know, me, Lux, Black Magik, Sensei Blaze, Sensei ZENSEI 33. He's the editor. He's an incredible editor from out in the West Coast that put it together visually. For the we're doing a new video for Alpha and Omega. That's dropping soon. That was filmed by Gio and Los, and it'll be edited by Polo Vision and Sensei 33. So that one's gonna be insane too. And then we're looking to definitely do something for Beautiful with Cyrock. So, you know, at least a couple more videos. We don't want to cap it off,
right?
But, you know, I would say there'll be a couple of visuals for this.
Right. When that Alpha Omega video drop, God,
it's gonna be crazy.
What? That song is just it's ridiculous, man. I am, you know, I said before, I felt so ignorant, man. I'm like, how am I not already in tune? You know what I mean? There's multiple projects, lyricism is there, it's in the pocket of stuff that I like anyway. You know what I mean? But what's next for you? Like, what is the, you know, the goal? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you kind of see yourself? What are you striving toward? And I could get a sense based on our conversation. It's like, you know, things are fluid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you made a bunch of moves just in your life, and even the music sort of reflects that. So maybe it's like, well, I can only, you know, project so much, but where do you kind of see yourself going? Like, where is, you know, where will Cambatta be? You know what I mean? Like, where do you want to be?
I would say that I don't ever want to limit myself, but I'm also realistic in my actions and the way I express myself, and also the way that I'm perceived. So there's a difference in an artist like me and a Drake or any of these guys who do a contemporary sound and they have a specific purpose, and so there's a couple reasons why you would want to be a rapper. And most of the famous rappers and the big rich rapper, their initial purpose was to become a superstar. So literally, if you're visualizing yourself, oh, I want to be the biggest rapper in the world, I want to be rich, I want to have all the bitches, gold, car, that's what you're gonna get, and your music is gonna reflect it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
My initial goal was to be one of the greatest. That comes with a whole separate level of situations, because to be one of the greatest, you have to go through a life that has a whole bunch of different experiences, good and bad, mostly bad. Because in order to be a great lyricist, you have to have a certain point of view, and you have to have reference points that people can remember. Like, you need to have vast memory and observation. So when you want to be a great rapper, you got to know what that comes with. When you want to be a great lyricist, not just a great artist, but specifically a great lyricist and a great artist needs to have some kind of texture in their life. So, and it's also harder. It's the more dynamic your art is, the less people will be able to identify the intricacies.
Right.
So with my music, like, I knew what I was doing from the beginning. Like, I knew that I was putting myself in a niche category that doesn't have the highest amount of potential ceiling. However, we're living in a time now. So I was born and I came up in a time, and I'm still have enough youth and energy in this time where you can really explore that. So you got groups like Griselda that's doing they're changing the way that independent boom bap is made, which gives everybody. And Kendrick kind of kicked the door down. Kendrick and Absol kicked the door down for metaphysical rap years ago. So people have the ear for it now. And I mean, the technology, the means, the resources all allow me to say, hold on now, I don't have to cap it now. I want to be I want to be a multimillionaire. I want to be highly respected as one of the greatest lyricists who ever lived. And I would say a career that would really be awesome to kind of pattern it off of is MF Doom. I think had one of the greatest careers. If you could really, he did very little of anything else but rap, and that's the whole purpose. That's why videos for me are weird, and taking pictures and all of that shit. Because that's not my passion, like acting, taking pictures, doing things. I don't give a
airbrush and all that.
He actually changed the game. Like, he never showed himself. He only did what he wanted to do. His shit came out half mixed most of the time, made all the beats, didn't care about anything that was going on, never was on Twitter and Instagram. Never. And I mean, this guy has millions of dollars worth of art.
Cult following, man.
I would say like an MF Doom, but a little bit more accessible.
Okay, I get that. And you know, in that vein too, and all that, this is the last sort of, I got 2 more questions left, but this is one of the other things. Like, you guys have it on the website, which is in the link is in the chat for everybody who is wondering. It's $20 and all of that, and you guys have chosen to do it that route instead of the conventional means of just putting music out there. Like, why did you guys choose that sort of route? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're living in the times where, I mean, digital, the digital streaming music is, I mean, it's changed the face of access to music completely. I mean, I remember being a kid and having Napster and Kazaa and BearShare. You know, you would put 3 songs up and hope that when you wake up in the morning, one of them down.
Yeah.
And it's some bullshit that wasn't even the song you wanted. We're living in a time where all the music of all time is accessible at your fingertips. But you're getting fractions of a penny on it, you know, and you got to wait a month to get your investment. In this project, we wanted to make sure that we were able to, I guess, get as much as we could based on the independent route versus going directly into the machine first, and make it kind of more of an exclusive product, because we believe that its value justifies such. I mean, it's very rare you get a Lux project, very rare you get a Cambatta project, it's impossible that you get a project like Cam and Lux like that. This is an alternate reality for that to happen. You know what I mean? I'm just some kid from New Haven, Connecticut. I have nothing to do with battle rap. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm a hugely popular rapper. I just stuck to the fucking pen, bro. It's literally like, you know, what they tell you in church, and, you know, keep praying, baby, it'll come. Like, it's almost as if you get paid for them hours of work, even if nobody's there to witness it.
Talk about it.
Yeah, like, we all have this potential destiny. And as long as you don't need no witnesses, you know what I mean? Like, as long as you do it, something's gonna come out of it. It's just an embedded universal law. So we knew that the value of this project, and to keep it kind of hidden at first, you know, things that the treasure has to be hidden, or it's not a treasure. So really, we keep it independent, we keep it in house at first, and then we release it to the public after we've kind of made sure that the grassroots fans, the people that were serious about it, got it first. And you know, it's the best way to go these days for all independent artists out there. I mean, you go digital, you know, you get 1 million plays. I think 1 million plays on an album is equivalent to $8,000 or something like that. So, you know, just imagine selling 1 million singles from your website, you know. Right. It's a real big difference.
Different.
It's a dope point of view, because you just did a Doggy Diamonds interview, and we interviewed him on here. And one thing he said that was a fact. He said, if you want to know how many people support you, sell something.
Yeah.
It was a fact, because, and I like the way y'all did it. Like, if you're a real fan of mine, I got this website, this is where my album, this is where all my work at. Go support me if you're a real fan, and you're gonna appreciate it because you bought it. And I said, if somebody buy it, like if you were selling a mixtape on the corner, if I actually gave you $5 for it, I'm gonna listen to it. Now, if you gave it to me free, you might find it on the floor down the street. I made it. If I paid for it, I'm gonna sit there and listen to the whole album. Even if the first 2 songs I didn't like, nah, 3 gotta be it. I paid for this one. So it makes sense. It's a dope idea. I think that's a dope way y'all did it. Dope marketing and everything. So salute the whole process of that. Salute you and Lux. And like I say, I listen, I got 6 favorites off this joint already. That's Manifesto, Ready Rock, Cody, Character, Deja Vu, and Alpha Omega is my joints already. I only listen to the whole joint at least twice, but them my joints for sure.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's it. Man. Y'all got something for the gym. Lux ain't the only one trying to get in shape out here.
Yeah.
you know. But let me ask you that. We would be remiss if we did not ask this question. Shout out to All Things Poppin' TV. Ask him if he would consider getting in the ring, battling, because there is a lane for some of the stuff that the metaphysics. We got conscious brothers. Shout out to Beat Out. Shout out to Oops. You know, brothers that really, you know, got the pen. The pen is working. Daylyt's in the ring. Would you ever consider getting in the ring?
It's definitely. It's like one of those things that you know, it's okay. Take Bruce Lee, for instance. He was somebody who the philosophy of his martial arts was amazing. A lot of people consider him the greatest martial artist of all time without ever seeing him fight. But it would have been good to see him practice and use his swords in the ring, you know, against another great fighter. So on that level, it does make sense for me to at least try in today's realm to kind of test my pen and see where I'm at. But it is a very different element of energy.
Very much so.
Energy in a very aggressive, direct form of dehumanization. And it's not that I don't want to do that. It's just that I haven't done it yet in that form. And the face-to-face battle is a whole different element of overcoming anxiety. Your memory has to be fine-tuned. Your mannerisms, everything got to be there, you know. And so it would have to be something to where I'm able to have time to develop myself, and it would have to be financially worth it too. I don't want to start at the bottom. You know, it's like if I was a great MMA fighter and I'm going over to boxing, like a Conor McGregor, I want to keep raising the value of my brand musically. So if that day ever happens, the paycheck will propagate the effort of me having to stop doing music and then learn a whole new aspect of the craft. Because in respects to the craft and these great battle rappers, it's a different muscle. Like, I think that my pen, like, let's say that I've had years and years to practice. The way that my mind works in my pen, my level of color, detail, reference points, I think that I would be instantly elite. But that's just from a lyrical point.
From a lyrical point of view, yeah.
The whole aspect of physically being there in the ring, and I got niggas. I'm not a street nigga either, so you got niggas. You know, everybody's out. They kind of breathing on your neck. I'm not used to that energy in my everyday life. Like, you know, I hardly hug a average human being. Like, you know, like that might be all the fucking, you know, interaction I get. So it is a whole new realm, and I see why a lot of rappers fail when they go there, because it is. And I have to, you know, adjust to rapping off the beat. I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm very young in mind and body, but it will have to be the right circumstances. You know, and it will have to probably initially be a rapper that straddles the fence too, so it'll make sense. I can't immediately start battling the greats in that realm until I've proved that I can get somebody that at least does both or something like that. It would be dope to battle another rapper that doesn't battle.
Like King Los, we seen King Los in the ring.
A lot of people say, shout out to King Los, one of the greatest lyricists of all time, first of all. His dynamic of bar structure, his off the dome freestyling is world class. Maybe I would say, without even knowing all of who's in the top 10, I would definitely put him in the top 10. Off the dome freestyles of all time. There's Mr. Fab, there's Juice, there's Blind Fury, there's Harry Mack. I've heard really really insane. My boy Taboo. There's a bunch of people that I've heard off the dome that are just retarded. But yeah, King Los is at the upper echelon of rappers. That would make more sense because he's not primarily a battle rapper. You know, somebody like that. But you know, I'm not itching to do it, man. I still got so much ground I have to make up in music. Yeah. Just dealing with those, I got Eminem. There's a bunch of people, you know. I mean, it's impossible to be the GOAT right now, technically. Yeah. You know, especially like after watching, you know, just being reminded of Biggie Smalls, Tupac. I mean, even watching like a Drake or a Kendrick. I mean, there's a different level of polished.
It's different, you know, right?
different level of and I'm super humble. I have the potential to be up there because of just the dynamic of my writing, but I'm not ignorant to the fact that I'm amongst a lot of fucking incredible rappers.
Very dope.
Lupe's pen is Lupe, Mickey, Royce, Daylyt. There's some people out there. Nino Bless. There's a bunch of people. Crazy.
Shout out to Nino Bless too. Shout out to Nino Bless. Now, let me one more thing before we get the shout outs and everything. Like, salute to the chat as well and the people who listen to Project. Really encouraging y'all to pick that up. That's 20 well spent, if I say so myself. All right. Now, Lux, you familiar with him? You've been in the booth. You familiar with battle rap, things like that. Daylyt, another Titan. They in considerations to battle. Who do you got? Who do you think is going to win that battle?
I mean, it's like, first of all, these are two of my favorite rappers of all time. Shout out to Daylyt. Me and him are definitely on schedule to working on something. We were supposed to work on something in the past. As you know, he's very busy and I'm very busy. So it's going to happen. We will hear a Daylyt Cambatta song soon. But, Lux, that's my boy. That's my brother now. We're like blood brothers at this point. You create a project together, so I have to bet on my brother. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think that is one of those situations where there probably won't be a winner because we're talking about two of the greatest pens this world has ever seen. It's gonna be a very split. Like, okay, the dynamics of what makes Daylyt great are, first of all, he has extremely condensed lyricism. It's very dense material, right. And it's based directly on. There's like a centipede form, like of etymological breakdown. So like he'll be like, if he says father, he's gonna say farther. Father. He's gonna give you every interpretation of every word in a direct line. And that style of kind of fluidity, his basic premise would take a little longer to get to because there's so much intricate detail to where what Lux is a master of is entendre, direct, it's more packaging and when you're dealing with one is like a snake style and you're dealing with one is like more of a tiger claw. And I think at their peak, they both nullify each other. There won't really be a winner if both of them are in peak condition. There won't be a winner. It's impossible to have a winner because their styles are so dope and just different enough to where the things that it's the whole thing that makes lyricism fire are the literary devices. So the metaphor, the simile, the entendre, the punchline, and both of them are so good in their particular era. Like with Daylyt is directly the etymological bridging, and that comes with entendre because he's explaining everything down the line and he's using the word in a way. Like I had this one rhyme, I was like, discover the disc tape that sounds so alien, the disc covers. So discover the disc tape that sounds so alien, the disc covers. I'm saying the same word, but I'm splitting the etymology up so it means different things.
Right.
Master at that.
Masters that. Right.
Yeah, with Lux, it's like he'll say a window off a pane. He blends the word directly in an entendre. He shifts, he mutates the language. He's great at change. He's a shapeshifter.
Right.
One is a shapeshifter, and one is like he breaks down the molecules of a word. One is more of he breaks down the word and extrapolates. And Lux basically shifts the sound of the word to mean something completely different. He's always double talking. That's why people complain about when he's in his interviews. Like Jesus spoke all the prophets spoke in parable because really
he's the master at saying things without having to say them, and it bleeds through his lyricism, and there's a purpose. It's genius. It's genius.
It makes the words timeless. There's no time limit on what he's saying. It could apply anywhere. That is crazy.
That's
first
crazy.
Of all, if you wasn't a dope rapper on a beat, you could do what I do every day. Because that breakdown is the illest Lux Daylyt breakdown I've heard.
Yeah.
Facts, hands down. And mind you, this whole I didn't go to college shit is crazy. You are clearly you got command of the language in a different way. Man. I'm clipping that part, Cola. I'm clipping that. That was crazy.
That was a crazy breakdown of both of them. That was crazy.
But yeah, Cambatta, man, we appreciate you, bro. You know what I mean? You dope. You putting on for the conscious guys, for the guys that, you know what I mean? Like we look and go back to the projects to find more. And I just feel like, and shout out to Black Magik, man, because sonically, this doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard, but it sounds native somehow.
And like, yo, speaking of Black Magik, I'm about to link up with him now. I'm talking about, you know, one of the greatest. Here's why he's one of the greatest producers of all time. He has no extra beats. His first project was our first project.
Wow.
So all the beats that this man has made, for the most part, have been used to make a great song. It's like, yo, if in your career you only shot 50 shots, but they were all game-winning 3-pointers. You know what I mean? It's like he's making a name for himself, and just strictly through the music. Most people still don't know who he is. Like, oh, that's Brother Rich. Because he's a gatekeeper. He brought in a lot of the metaphysics, the black metaphysicists that we learn from. All go through him, and now it's becoming a gateway for artists too. So
it's fire, man. It's fire. Cam, what we always do up here, Cambatta, is we give people the ISO screen to talk to the people, to promote whatever you want to promote, the projects, give out the social media and things like that. So I'm gonna give you the same time to promote, you know what I mean, and do your thing.
Yeah,
right?
Put me in that ISO.
Yeah.
You know, I sold my oats. I so horny. No, that's very corny. Okay, I'm Cambatta, Cambatta. You can find me on social networks at Cambatta Music, Twitter, Instagram. My website is cambattamusic.com. You can find my new project, Manifest Destiny, featuring Loaded Lux, exclusively produced by Black Magik, at manifestdestinymusic.com. You can also find it linked on my website, cambattamusic.com, but it's either manifestdestiny.com or cambattamusic.com. Also, my previous solo album is all over the place already on Spotify. That's LSD, Lunar Solar Duality. Personally, one of my favorite projects I've ever done. But yeah, Manifest Destiny is what it is right now. Alpha and Omega coming out soon. Also, it'll be available for Spotify, iTunes, etc. at that same time.
Man, dope. Yo, I appreciate you, brother. I'm rooting for you. We gonna talk. We got the project, man. When the project comes out digitally, we'll definitely be promoting that anytime, bro. Anytime, because this is astute minds like this. This is the type of people we like to connect with, and this is what our people, fans of us, appreciate. You feel what I'm saying? You rewind time, it's more to find. You understand?
Yeah. It's all mine, man. I'm beyond honored and humbled. Shout out to Mickey Fax for making me aware of this, and kind of plugging us into the scene. And shout out to the whole chat, everybody that's been showing me love. I'm extremely humble. I know that this is I'm in the belly of the beast in this.
Yeah, because if you was whack, they'd be like, nah, he trash. So why you
it would be bad. It would be bad. So this is dope, man. I'm very appreciative of you guys.
No doubt, man. No doubt. So we gonna check in, man. You be safe, man. All right.
Peace. Thank you.
All right, brother. No doubt, man. So that was Cambatta. The project is out and it's dope. We not capping. There is no cap here. All right. You see us. We not even wearing hats today. Huh? I'm already doing it. This is what Cambatta was talking about, right? So pick up the project. It's $20. $20 well spent. Y'all spend $20 on that trash weed up the block. I don't care. $20.
That's a fact.
Some of y'all be smoking dirt too. We're gonna address that. But listen, $20 well spent. The project is dope. Great production, great messages. It's not heavy-handed, but if you a person like myself that you get into the thinking, you're doing the knowledge, and you into the metaphysics and all that, this is where we wanna go to. You know what I mean? And if you just like dope beats and motherfuckers that can rhyme, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is for everybody. You feel me? So I'm definitely in tune and everything like that, man. And shout out to everybody in the chat as well. Just a couple announcements, Cola, for the people tonight. Jump in the Discord. The link is in there as well. We're gonna have a couple of versus battles. You know what I mean? I got my man Gunna. Got my man Gunna on deck. Hey, Cola, why you doing that, Cola? What's up?
Look at my wrist. I got time today. Fucking up on the line today.
Yeah.
Let's go, Moneybag. I ain't
Cola.
playing with him.
So Moneybag versus Gunna in the Discord. So
we also got LL 50.
LL Cool J versus 50 Cent as well. Jump in here and you know what I'm saying, and get to it, man. All right, because we gonna get to it. Yeah, we definitely heard that Chess. Leonard Jenkins, shout out to you. We heard that Chess. Yo, Chess
He
went
ain't
crazy.
Quilly, he ain't Millie, he ain't Gilly. Hey,
Yeah.
stop playing easy. Hey, easy.
Yeah.
Gotta respond, kid.
Chess pulled out the Draco and just let it happen. All right. So shout out to everybody that's here. Salute to Battle Rap, salute to Lux, salute to Cambatta and Black Magik and the whole community, man. The brothers that's really for that knowledge, man. All right. So anyway, Black Compass Media, man. Subscribe. This weekend is a big weekend. Cola, we got recaps on deck for the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We working. You see what we doing. The content is versatile, huh? Like, listen, man. Hearing him and like, I can't rap a lick. Like, I can't rap at all. But hearing him and Lux and making like you get for a second, like,
hey, Tone, before we get out of here, he mentioned something about being compatible.
Right.
If y'all go get that album, him and Lux complements each other very well on their project.
Very well.
It's like sometimes it's so many people that think about it. It's so many people that rap, but it's like a process of finding someone with the right chemistry, as well as producer, as well as someone to feature on the track with. Everybody gonna work good together. I think they complement each other very well. That album is fire. Go check it out. Like I said, I only gave it 2 full listens. Spin rounds.
Spin.
I'm eating with this all night. You already know. Let's get it.
Right.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, man, Black Compass Media, salute to everybody in the chat, man. Definitely appreciate all of y'all. Get with us. Follow us at The Black Compass, DA Black Compass. All the content is available across all streaming platforms. Now, you get the video on YouTube, obviously, but you go to your Spotify, you go to iTunes, Google Play. All the content is there for you as well. So we really, really appreciate everybody humbly. You know what I'm saying? Salute everybody. We up out of here. Peace.